Tonight we're going to be talking about joining the Navy. In 1902, President Theodore Roosevelt said, "A good Navy is not a provocation to war, but it's the surest guarantee of peace." And I find that to be held pretty true, and I'm going to be here tonight and teach you how to become a member of a good Navy. There are 7 major steps to joining the Navy, and the first is you have to go to your local recruiter. Here you'll go through some basic qualifications, such as make sure you've graduated high school or have a GED, make sure that you don't have any major convictions on a police record, and to make sure you have a clean drug test. And your recruiter will also talk to you about the process of getting through the next step, the Military Entrance Processing Station, or MEPS. Here you go through the physical qualification of joining the military, such as your height and your weight, or your BCA, Body Composition Assessment. You go through an extremely in-depth physical. It's a very long day. It starts about 3:30 in the morning, and you don't usually get done until about 10 o'clock at night. And the doctors will check things you didn't know existed to make sure that you're physically qualified for military service. If you have any history of heart conditions, they'll give you an EKG just to make sure that you're fine. And at the very end of the day, the very last thing you do is you swear into the inactive reserves, which is actually the first part of being in the military. You're now part of the military. You're just an inactive component. And for the next up to a year, you're part of the delayed entry program. What this is between the time you finish with MEPS and you're physically qualified until the time you actually are scheduled to report to basic training. And you meet at the recruiter station once a week. You go over some basic military knowledge, such as rate rank recognition. You'll go do a lot of physical training, some basic marching, and you'll learn things like the Sailor's Creed and the 11 General Orders of the Century. For the physical training, you'll go through a initial fitness assessment, which is very similar to the physical fitness test that we have to do once you're an active component. However, you have to pass an initial fitness assessment before you can go to boot camp. And up to 365 days of that, and then you have to report back to MEPS. But this time, it's a little bit shorter day. It's not quite as in-depth of the physical. They give you yet another drug test, and then they're significantly more strict on the height weight. The first time you're at MEPS, you can tape in at 25% body fat. However, at the second time, you can be no more than 22. At the very end of the day of the second time you're at MEPS, you then swear in again. But this time, you're transferring from the inactive reserves into the active component. From MEPS, they hand you a plane or bus ticket, and you will leave your MEPS station and report to basic training. For the Navy, basic training is in Great Lakes, Illinois, which is very close to Chicago. It's a 8-week program. Your very first day lasts about 48 hours, and there you get your PT uniform, you get your haircut the first time, all of your personal belongings with the exception of a Bible or religious text of some form are mailed back to your home of record, and you will be very tired when you finally get to the bed. You are also assigned your division, which is the group of sailors that you will stay with for the rest of boot camp. While at boot camp, you PT 4 times a week. On Saturdays, it's called Bases. It's a varied workout regimen. It's got things like the fire carry and some rope climbs, and then you do a physical fitness test every 2 weeks. So you do a total of 4 while you're in boot camp. During this time, you'll also be learning more in-depth military knowledge. You'll get inspected of your uniforms, which I have some uniforms right here. This is full dress blues without the neckerchief. That is my chest coat, and this is the Navy working uniform. You'll be inspected in the dress blues and the Navy working uniform while you're there. You also have zone inspections where they check the quality of your bed making and your organization in your drawer. All of this leads up to your final exam at boot camp, which is called Battle Stations. In Battle Stations, it's a mock-up of a ship that you go out and you operate the vessel for the night. It starts at 10 o'clock at night and it doesn't end until 7 o'clock the next morning. And when it is over, you have passed. You are now a sailor in the United States Navy. That takes place between 1 week and 2 days before boot camp graduation, which is the first time you've seen your family in a couple months, and that is a public demonstration of you becoming a sailor. After boot camp, you will get another plane ticket or a bus ticket, and you'll go to what is called A School, which is advanced training. That is where you will learn your specific job for the Navy. I was a culinary specialist, so my A School was in Richmond, Virginia, and I learned how to cook for a very large number of people. It was a 4-week course, and upon finishing that, I reported to my submarine, the USS Albany. However, not all A schools are 4 weeks long. Some of them are up to 2 years long, such as the nuclear pipeline. And some of them are 2 weeks long, which is your basic seamanship course for the bosun's mates. And after A school, you then report to the fleet, which may or may not actually be a vessel. Some people report to combat brigade squads. Some people report to assault craft units. Some people report to the riverine squadrons. But the vast majority of people report to either a surface ship or a submarine. And once on the submarine or the ship, you work on a rotating shift, which you'll have duty days depending on how many sections will depend on how many days you have between duty days, where you stay on the ship for 24 hours and you're there in case something happens and you have to make sure the security of the ship is there. You go on deployments and you go out to sea and seaports, and then you come home and you see your family. And you do all this, and every March and September you get to take an exam, and you'll become more acquainted with exams, and as you do better on the exams you can advance in rank, and eventually you can attain a rank and retire and enjoy your life. And tonight we've learned how to join the Navy. Thanks.